Hello, I'm Colin Hanratty from hostelworld.com, and here are 10 things you need to know about Dublin.
The Irish capital is a young, friendly and extremely compact city, so you can see loads and have an awful lot of fun in a short space of time. Getting more and more multicultural every day, Dublin is the home of Guinness, the birthplace of some of the world's best known writers and musicians, and its nightlife is legendary around the world. Now, here is the first of those 10 things. The river that divides Dublin into the north and south sides is the River Liffey.
There are many bridges which cross the River Liffey, the best known being the Halfpenny Bridge and this bridge here, O'Connell Bridge, which is longer in width than it is in length.
Landmarks north of the Liffey include the Customs House and the Spire, while south of the river Dublin Castle and Christchurch Cathedral are two of Dublin's best known buildings. And the great thing about Dublin is, because it is so compact, you can walk from Henry Street on the north side to Grafton Street on the south side in less than 10 minutes. These are the Bus, a light rail network called the Dart, which serves many of Dublin's coastal suburbs.
And this, the Luas, which is Dublin's newest mode of public transport. There are two lines, now they don't connect, but there are still some very handy stops, namely at both of Dublin's main train stations and at the Museum of Decorative Arts and History.
Rome has the Colosseum, Paris has the Eiffel Tower, and Dublin has the factory where one of its most famous exports, Guinness, is brewed. At this world-class attraction you can discover how the famous drink is made and see many of its most famous adverts. You even get to pull your own pint.
And the highlight of the visit to the Guinness storehouse is the complimentary pint of Guinness you get here in the Gravity Bar on the 7th floor, which overlooks the entire city. Sláinte.
Naturally, there's a lot more to see in Dublin than a brewery. Other attractions well worth visiting include Dublin Castle and Christchurch Cathedral, which I mentioned earlier, while if you're looking for somewhere to chill out for a few hours, check out one of the city's parks, like St Stephen's Green at the top of Grafton Street or the Phoenix Park, the largest urban park in Europe.
Another place not to miss is this place, Trinity College. It's right in the middle of the city centre. It's home to one of the oldest books in the world called the Book of Kells, and past pupils include Oscar Wilde and Samuel Beckett. If you're broke but you're still looking for something to do, it's good to know that all of Dublin's national museums and galleries are free, like this one, the National Museum of Archaeology and History on Kildare Street, which is artefacts from prehistoric Ireland, ancient Egypt and more.
Others include the National Museum of Decorative Arts and History in Collins Barracks and the National Gallery on Merrion Square, which is Ireland's premier art gallery. James Joyce, Jonathan Swift and Bernard Shaw all called Dublin home the past, and present natives include Sinead O'Connor, U2 and Bob Geldof. There are statues of the famous writers at different locations throughout the city, while an entire wall is dedicated to the city's most famous singers in Temple Bar.
For a more detailed insight into some of Dublin's most famous writers, visit the Dublin Writers Museum here on Parnell Square on the north side of the city.
Among other things, you can see James Joyce's piano and the first edition of Dracula by Bram Stoker, another Dublin native.
If you have the time when you visit Dublin, try and visit some of the city's suburbs, like this one called Howth, a fishing village on the north side of the city.
It's in this suburb that both locals and tourists come to feed the seals, as well as walk over Howth Head for breathtaking coastal views. Also north of the Liffey is Malahide, which is known for its cafes and restaurants, and Portmarnock, which is popular for its beach. On the city's south side you'll find Ranelagh, an area of Dublin well known for its nightlife, and Dún Laoghaire, a suburb popular at walkers who flock there in the evenings for its long pier. It's also one of the best places in the city to catch a sunset. Howth, Malahide, Portmarnock and Dún Laoghaire are all served by the Dart, while Ranelagh is just 10 minutes from the city centre on the Green Lewis line. As you would expect from a capital city, Dublin is great for shopping. Henry Street is the main street north of the river, while on the south side Grafton Street is where you'll find well-known stores, along with more local ones not so familiar. There are also lots of shopping centres, like the Stephen's Green Shopping Centre at the top of Grafton Street.
Now while Temple Bar is best known for its bars and restaurants, it's also one of the best places in the city to pick up a bargain.
Shops like Sharpsville and Flip, both on Fowne Street, have both new and second-hand clothes, while Wild Child on Crow Street has a great selection of vintage clothing. All over Dublin, restaurants promote early bird specials. Starting around 5 p.m. and ending any time around 7:30 p.m, these are usually deals where you get a starter and a main course for anything between €9 and €20. One of the most popular in town is Shane Max at the gates of Dublin Castle, while on Parliament Street, Da Pino, Ciao Bella Roma and Cafe Topolis all do extremely reasonable deals.
If you're too late for an early bird but you're still looking for somewhere relaxed and inexpensive to eat, try this place. It's called the Elfington Castle and Temple Bar. They've got a great selection of salads and burgers, and their chicken wings are legendary here in Dublin. There is no doubt that any trip to Dublin should include a night out in the famous Temple Bar, as it is packed with good bars and there's always something going on in Dublin's tourist quarter. But it is quite touristy here and you won't find many locals. Instead you'll find them here on South William Street, which is one of the liveliest strips in the city. Now south of the River Liffey, and here you'll find bars to suit all tastes. These include bars like Dakota and South William, which should both be checked out. Other strips include Bagot Street, where you will find O'Donoghue's, which is an extremely famous pub, and Camden Street, which has more alternative bars like Anseo and Sullis. And if you're looking for a traditional Irish bar with lots of character that isn't on the tourist trail, drop into Keogh's on South Ann Street, which dates back to 1803. So there you have 10 things you need to know about Dublin. Hopefully it will make your trip to Dublin that little bit more enjoyable. Don't forget, if you are planning a trip here, to log on to www.hostelworld.com for the biggest and best selection of hostels in Dublin.